they stole the joke of me I was using for years, where if I see like an Asian person in a mask on the tube or whatever, I just point to someone and say, "Oh, okay, look, we get it. They're a surgeon." That was always what I used to say, and then they stole that. They robbed me of that. Do they not all just wear one now?
I think you should still make that joke, like even after all that, just like especially if you make it to someone who's also masked, like just nudge someone in a mask or someone else who's in a mask and be like, "You think this guy's a surgeon?" Like on the tube or something.
I did have fun in the first year of COVID. I went on more holidays in like the first year of COVID than ever before, just because I felt like I wasn't going to be able to. So I just sort of, I don't know what happened, but anyway, it was good.
And combat effectiveness is going down, and there's going to be like a brutal awakening if it actually comes to a war with China.
General buggery is on the up.
Yeah, I mean, play the it's Nintendo Wii theme, but instead of every toot 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 toot, it's the footage of Will Smith slapping Chris Rock.
Yeah, I'm definitely doing that then for this month. Right, should we get this underway?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy, pretty excited about this week. It's my birthday week, so
Let's do this. I cannot wait to delve into Yakub.
So yeah, welcome to the Memery Hole, the show where we take a look at last year's memes and see what came to pass.
What will we learn?
What will we learn? Or remember? Or remember that we've been forgotten?
And there it is.
Taking an aspirin is probably more dangerous than the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, Sage member Professor Callum tells LBC.
I'm in contact with a guy whose leg had to get amputated because of that vaccine.
No, hang on. This channel does not support spreading misinformation about the vaccines. Vaccines are perfectly safe, and if they're not safe, then that's a good thing that they're not safe.
Yeah, I hadn't seen his leg before the vaccine actually, so who knows?
Yeah, sounds like fake news to me.
Sounds like a pre-existing condition. Insurance won't cover it. He's in the States. Sorry, mate. Should have thought about that leg before you got your health insurance.
But under 30s in the UK will be offered an alternative to COVID jab to the AstraZeneca vaccine due to evidence linking it to rare blood clots. You got the AZ, right, El?
Yeah, I did. Still got my legs, to be fair. To be fair to them. And I do like it because it sounds very like Aztec, innit? Like, when it comes to branding, that's the one that sounds.
What about the American pronunciation?
But didn't the Aztec sacrifice children?
Yeah, also that. Because the thing is, with the American pronunciation, it's AZ, and that just sounds like, I don't know, Jay-Z, but like a weak version. Like the British rapper who tries to be like Jay-Z and calls himself AZ.
AZ, the Beyonce booster.
Yeah.
The British version would be AZ though.
A to Z, because your whole life flashes before your eyes after you take the vaccine.
I hope I don't get pulled up on this one. Let's move on to Yakub. Tell us about Yakub.
Yeah. Yakub. All right. So before I begin, are people familiar with like the Scientology mythos about how like they believe that like an alien called what's his name? Zool, something like that. Xenu created all humans and stuff like that. So Yakub is kind of like that, but for the Nation of Islam. And like, I'm not even joking. This is what they actually believe. Like, you can go to the Wikipedia page on Yakub and the Nation of Islam, and it's all there. So they're sort of foundation mythos of the Nation of Islam, and this is genuinely what people like Louis Farrakhan believe. Like, I'm not joking here. Is that about 6,000 years ago, there was a divine being. So this is where like black people were like Wakanda level, right? 6,000 years ago. Like Africa was like Wakanda level. And there was this genius called YAKUB represented on the images because his brain was just so huge and he could, process millions and millions of data, in an instant in his massive brain. And he decided that he's gonna go and undertake a mission to create other races from black people. And so the first thing he did is he went to the Middle East and he created brown people. And then he created white people, but he made them really, really evil. I don't know whether that's by accident or by design. I don't really know whether Yakub is meant to be like a good guy or a bad guy in this, but fundamentally he was like this incredibly bright scientist who like created the monstrosity known as white people, who then went and conquered the planet. But it is prophesized that the white people reign will only be 6,000 years. And apparently that elapsed in 1914.
Oh.
So the 6,000 years of like white people destroying everything, that apparently, your free trial expired in 1914. And from then on, it's like, waste the motherfuckers, right? And that's a foundational myth of the Nation of Islam. I'm not joking here. That's literally like, when I first read it, I was genuinely like, okay, this is basically like Scientology, and some people like legitimately believe this stuff.
Well, I could get behind that. That sounds pretty
the myth
cool.
Of Yakub. Yeah.
Big brain. He looks like one of those guys from Star Trek, doesn't he?
Klingons.
Mm.
Yeah.
Not Klingons.
Yeah. Something like that.
Are they Klingons?
Or Ferengi.
Maybe. Vagina heads. So is Malcolm X, was he a Nation of Islam guy, wasn't he?
Yeah, and
He was indeed. I don't know if anyone's ever asked him his opinion on Yakub.
Was Muhammad Ali Nation of Islam as well?
Think so. I think because I think Nation of Islam also has something like Scientology, where they give you like a name and a rank when you join. And so because his actual name was Cassius Clay.
Mm-hmm.
When he joined the Nation of Islam, I think he changed his name to Muhammad Ali. I could be wrong on this.
No, I think that's true. Yeah.
Wasn't Cat Stevens also one? Didn't he? Is it Cat Stevens?
I thought that was just a shit name.
Who sung Wild World? No. Ooh, baby, baby, it's a wild world. It is, right?
Cat Stevens.
He's like Yusuf something. Cat
Yeah.
Stevens, Nation of Islam.
It could well be.
Yeah, Muhammad Ali, he converted to Sunni Islam after falling out with the Nation of Islam, though, when he retired from boxing.
Oh, really?
Did Malcolm X also, or was he always a Nation of Islam?
So what happened here then? What was this got to do with April 2nd? Was this George's discovery of you stumbled upon Yakub in late?
So this is an excellent Twitter chain on the right about the bottom tweet: white writers who refuse to debate Yakubian theories only hasten the acceptance of grafted devil theory. Science.
Oh, didn't the Nation of Islam assassinate Malcolm X? Wasn't that who killed him?
I thought it was the FBI. Nah, same tautology. Hey.
Wow, this person doesn't like white people. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Shall we go through that? Shall we go through that tortuous?
Let's debate whether
Twitter
Yakub
thread.
created white people by grafting a dog and a pig, or merely a dog and a rat. This seems totally legitimate. I didn't say I believe that white people were the product of Yakubite pig-dog grafting, just that it's worthy of debate. An astonishingly small number of white writers willing to prove to me that they are not vermin spawn. Faulkner is turning over in his grave. White writers who refuse to debate Yakubian theories only hasten the acceptance of the grafted devil theory.
So we were sort of melded together with like a man-bear pig sort of scenario.
Yeah. The question is, are you gonna fight it or are you gonna embrace it? Are you gonna embrace your inner man bear pig? Or are you gonna fight it? Are you gonna rebel against the Yakubian world order?
Do Yakubians eat pork? I feel like they should eat pork in that scenario. Yeah.
Well, the Nation of Islam.
As well.
Good question. I think pork is banned in the Nation of Islam.
Yeah, the reason they don't eat it is because it's a filthy, dirty devil animal. But like that's a common thing I've known in sort of Islam circles, where some of them believe that white people are like a ape pig hybrid. But I didn't know if that's separate from this or if that's where it's coming from. I guess that's where it's coming from.
Who's been telling you this?
Huh?
Who's been telling you that?
Like, there's that video of Mehdi Hassan calling like white people dogs and animals.
What, the Channel 4, the Channel 4 present?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's had a lot of hot takes in his time. He like skirts a fine line between being a social justice warrior and like making absolutely horrendous takes about like race and stuff.
But that's how he got big in America, I guess. He's really big over there now, isn't he? Like, just gotta spread the hate.
Yeah. Hey.
Okay, let's move on. So you're the virgin determinist, right? So you can read your position. Should I make it bigger?
I am indeed a determinist. The thing is, all of those are just completely untrue, other than the Babatma neurons, which is a solid argument, because if everything in chemistry occurs along, probabilistic lines, like, if you add compound A to compound B, heat up to temperature C, you will always inevitably get compound D, right? Then the question is, there is no, stochasticity, ergo everything is deterministic on the basic molecular level, and I still haven't found, where you insert the free will into the complete deterministic nature of chemical reactions occurring in the human body.
But free will isn't about chemistry. Free will's a way of explaining and describing the behavior of humans or entities that have free will. Not, it doesn't say that determinism. I don't think there's a conflict between determinism and free will.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. I think that's where we differ.
I'm more of an anti-reductionist than an anti-determinist.
Okay.
What's an anti-reductionist?
CFO's determinist with his knowledge of quantum mechanics.
Reductionism is basically saying that the only way you can explain things is in terms of their smaller parts. So it would be like someone trying to explain this conversation in terms of atoms. Because we're made of atoms, we must ultimately explain this conversation in terms of atoms. Makes absolutely no sense to me, because you don't get anywhere with that. Or like trying to explain, or even just doing it at the level of electrical chemical impulses. Like, you could map out our entire electrical chemical impulses that are happening in our brain right now. It wouldn't tell you anything about the content of this conversation. So I think there's different levels of explanation that are applicable at different levels, and reductionism is the idea that you have to talk in terms of the smaller parts that constitute it. But I don't think that makes sense. But also with
It's a bit lazy, isn't it?
Yeah, determinism also, it's like you can have a deterministic framework that isn't congruent with free will in the sense that you can have, say, like a mathematical function which you can determine the outcome of, but it could have two different outcomes, and determinism doesn't tell you which one of those outcomes is going to be. It can just tell you that it will be one of those outcomes.
And if you're a determinist, wouldn't you just let like all the criminals go, because it's like, oh, it's not their fault? It was just there.
Oh hell no, no,
It
no!
was just their
No,
chemistry.
no. If anything, you would punish them harder because like you have because then there is less hope for reform, right?
Mm. Right. Yeah. So you have to hardwire it a bit more.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like you like when when you're protecting yourself against a tornado, you just like, okay, well, tornado is perfectly deterministic, right? As long as you know the weather parameters, you know how it's gonna behave. It's kind of the same thing with determinists and criminals. It's kind of like, okay, criminal's gonna criminal, behave accordingly.
And what's what about the Chad Free Willy? How is what is this two rivalry? What are these two?
I exercised his free will on your mum last night. I disagree with pretty much everything in this meme.
Same, and also I don't have a paltry understanding of biochemistry. I think, and I don't think science alone can answer all the questions of the universe.
Voted for Donald Trump.
See,
or I'm a Chadwood.
Oh, he gets quantum mechanics though. That's like this is just Homer Simpson and Frank Grimm's, isn't it, or whatever his name? Where he's like so pissed off that Homer hasn't done any of the right things to determine his lovely house and lovely family. Doesn't get. I'm not going to wear any gloves because I'm Homer Simpson, and just ends up dying.
I don't think I've watched that episode.
Well, that's like the best episode of The Simpsons. It's
Is
quintessential. I think M. Plemon has a whole video on that episode. You should watch it.
Oh, does it? Okay. I'll give that a watch.
Hopefully, there'll be a card. There'll be a card in the video.
Just go hard into like free will and stuff. Okay, all right. I will.
I don't know if it goes in free will or anything.
Oh.
It's just a funny Simpsons episode.
I think Sam Harris and Hitchens count as well-renowned scientists. This is such a trolly meme.
I love how this is basically like an atheist, like Christian debate that's been wrapped in free will and determinism. Like it's just appealing. Like where is it?
Yeah, but the weird thing is you're the atheist and I'm the Christian here.
I know.
And it should be the other way around.
Uses religion and spirituality to uncover new secrets about himself. BTFO's determinist with his knowledge of quantum mechanics. Realised that if human behaviour really were predictable, the economy would be as well.
I mean, I think the question of human behavior being predictable is a question of computational power. I think like 20 years ago, if you told someone, hey, can you show me can you predict how this protein folds? They'd be like, no way. But now with AlphaFold, you can basically, well, I'm not going to say it's perfect, but we're a lot closer to being able to predict how a protein folds just based from the sequence of amino acids. So I think the human behavior thing is just a question of computational power. But then again, maybe I'm a lot more black-pilled.
But it's also the knowledge of how to do things. You can't predict the knowledge that was required in advance to make that possible.
Yeah.
They wrongly predicted that it would be impossible because they didn't know how it would be possible. And that's the key point, I think, that makes humans unpredictable is the fact that the thing that sets humans apart from animals is the fact that we do create knowledge, and that part of humans is what makes them unpredictable, because to predict new knowledge would be to create that knowledge. So it's kind of not a tautology per se, but
an infinite recursion.
Well, it's the beginning of infinity. Let's get some David Deutsch in there. Should we move on?
Yeah.
Let's see what we got.
Oh yeah, this one goes with the bottom. So this is just hands down the funniest image I've seen in a while. Intel is making automated bleep software, and I'm howling at the back end.
Oh no. Oh no.
How do you take out some misogyny? Like what does it differentiate them as? Name calling.
I love how like you can have like, oh, I'd like to have some racism and xenophobia. I don't want to take out all of the racism and xenophobia. A little amount would be nice.
But
Just a man needs his 10% racism and xenophobia in his daily interactions.
I'd be much more impressed if they could like add more in somehow.
Yeah, replace the words with other words. Like replace the N word.
Well, I mean that's like a Black Mirror episode, isn't it? Like we're just nearing into the like two people think they're having a conversation with one another, but they're having a conversation with AI that like senses their conversation. I mean that's just spooky as shit, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like imagine we are having this conversation, but we're not. Each one of us thinks they're having a conversation with the other two, but it's all going through a filter that's like reprocessing it, and then we're getting something completely different.
Well, well, they're doing that with like real-time translation, aren't they? I guess so. I wouldn't have a clue if they were doing that or not.
Scary.
Why is this here? This is literally just 12 rules for life. That's not funny. Well, neither was the epistemology discussion, to be honest, but pretty dry.
Is that literally just the 12 rules for life without like any explanation to it?
Yeah, I don't know.
To be honest, I gotta say, if you have this image, you don't need to buy the book. I've read the book, listened to the audiobook version of it. All you need is the titles. Genuinely, it's like the shittiest self-help book in this regard because you don't need to buy it. Just read the titles, and like I can guarantee your interpretations of the titles will probably be very close to Jordan Peterson's interpretation. So just read the titles and follow them, as best as you can, and that's your antidote to chaos.
I could not agree more. I bought it, and then I've got like I think maybe like 30 pages in. I was like, who the hell is this book for? It's like for some sort of crackhead single mother sort of vibe. I don't know what's going on. I was like, I don't need this. Like, who the hell needs? Whose life is this fucked up?
So your life is not as bad as.
I mean, I think it was written. It was written with those kinds of people in mind. His sort of clinical people who were like, complete nut jobs. But I like the book though because I felt he comes across more humorous and playful in that book than he does in his lectures, where he's kind of sometimes comes off a bit aggressive.
Yeah.
Aren't a lot of the concepts like he has this unfortunate tendency that like you listen to about, I don't know, 5 hours of his material, and at least that used to be the case back in like 2016, 17. Like you listen to about 5 hours of his material and then you've listened to it all. Like he will tell you the story. It's like boo, get some better material, and it's like, oh shit, all I have with me is a story about how lobsters will stand up straight if you give them antidepressants, about how like rats will respond to being tickled, about how like biblical symbolism about the snake and the apple, about biblical symbolism of rescuing your father, and it's like,
don't forget Cain and Abel.
Yeah, that's there too. Like you've listened to about 5 hours of what of his stuff, and I'm not saying it's not useful or informative, but after that it just starts to repeat itself. Like if you just listen to all of his lectures from like 1 year of his course, like, I don't know, the 2017 Maps and Meaning course on YouTube, that's it. That's you've grasped the entirety of it. Yeah, with the Pinocchio and the Solzhenitsyn.
Him almost dying was a good bit though. That was like pretty exciting. Sort of like I got bit into him again. I was a bit like, oh shit, what's going on with JP? He had some. What was the illness? I don't know what it was, but like he was like hooked on like benzos and stuff.
I thought you meant the bit where he went on Rogan about he was talking about the carnivore diet. And he said that he had a debate with Sam Harris, and before that debate, he had like a teaspoon of like apple cider or something, and it like completely fucked him up. So he decided to go full carnivore.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so he's had some waves. He's had his little resonance that coming back every now and then.
And his daughter had like a couple of weird phases because she had a kid with her husband, and she divorced him. Then he had the daughter. Then they got back together, and now they're divorced again, I think. Like, in the meantime, whilst they were being divorced for the first time, she was like hooking around with pickup artists, like actual pickup artists, not like a derogatory term, but people who are like actually have like buy my book on their Twitter bio and stuff like that.
I can't look at her and not picture her shit because of the carnivore diet.
Well, I mean, if you consider trying it, like if you get like, I don't know, like if you get 2 weeks of annual leave, it's like, you know what, I'm just gonna only have meat and see what happens. Meat and a vitamin C pill, otherwise you're gonna get scurvy.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that sort of stuff one day, but again, your toilet's gonna suffer.
Well, apparently your gut will adjust after like a week.
Fine.
So like the first week's gonna be horrible, and then like I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Like the first week apparently is gonna be horrible, and then after that your gut will adjust, and you'll be a carnivore.
It's probably one of those things where like
But-
you're basically cutting out a load of shit that you would be eating that you could also probably cut out and still eat, like vegetables and rice and things like that. Like past couple of weeks I've only been eating like one meal a day during the week, and my skin's like got way better. I think I was just overeating, you know.
Yeah. Or yeah, I mean a lot of it is also cutting out like processed foods, seed oils. There's a big like anti-seed oil crusade going on right now.
Yeah, so tweet about that and how it doesn't digest and shit. Like basically just
Well, so I watched a documentary on how it's made, how they make seed oils, and it's just the amount of processing that goes into it. You have to like precipitate it using like petrol and stuff, or like concentrated hexane. You have to grind it into powder, extract it, etc., and it's like, whereas meanwhile butter just shake cream until it becomes solid, right?
Yeah.
So I think butter is just a lot less processed, and these days I've been frying everything in butter. If I die of a heart attack, you know why. But if the next stream I'm not there because I'm in a hospital with myocarditis, it's the butter.
Cold,
Either that or
car,
something else.
Yeah.
What they call or climate change.
Yeah.
I've died to climate change.
Or to segue into the next one, you had someone stood on the back of your neck for 9 minutes.
Oh no! So that was Steven Crowder attempting to prove that, and this was genuine. Like he made it in style of like MythBusters. Like what are we gonna do today? Today, what were the names? Adam and Jamie. Yeah, Adam and Jamie are gonna investigate if it's possible to survive with the policeman's knee on your neck for 9 minutes. Let's demonstrate, and like that's genuine what he did. People were perhaps not unfoundedly not amused by this, and he got hit pretty hard for
I'm
this.
surprised he
this
didn't black up.
stunt.
Just for the accuracy.
He does loads of stunts like this, and I just think they're always bullshit. Like he did one recently of like him infiltrating a like feminist fat positivity conference.
Okay, hold up. How do you fake being fat?
Oh, he like dressed up and got like prosthetics. He basically did a Mrs. Doubtfire, but he submitted a paper that got accepted. Then he goes off. It shows his talk at this conference, but then I don't believe it because it was like it got to the Q&A point and then it cut off. It's like,
yeah,
surely that's the funny bit where you see how people have reacted to it. So I'm like, is it? I think this is just a bit, and everyone in the comments is like lapping it up, like, I can't believe you fooled these people. It's like, mate, you've just been had. You're the fool here.
Yeah, see, this is why I'm more of like a Project Veritas kind of person, where they like actually get like someone in there with a hidden camera or the more recent one where they get like attractive women to try to go on dates with these like high level like executives and just basically make them spill the beans. Those are always hilarious. Like whenever like some kind of like Twitter executive tries to impress a chick by being like, "Yeah, it was me who banned Donald Trump. Yeah, I bet you're really impressed by that."
Cool, let's go on. The contribution will benefit the NRCC building and one other. We need to know you haven't lost you to the radical left. If you uncheck this box, we'll have to tell Trump you're a defector and sided with the Dems. Check this box and we can win back the House and get Trump to run in
That can't be.
2024.
Is this real?
Yeah, I was so the fundraising, the grift has just got so unbelievably bad. And it's genuinely like that at the moment. If you like, signed up on like mailing lists and stuff like that, you will literally get emails like that.
Everyone's just as bad as each other, aren't they now?
Yeah.
What the hell is this Quantrix Prodigy?
So this, I believe, so April last year was when they released the Magic the Gathering set about totally not Harry Potter school for wizards. Like it was skirting on borderline lawsuit territory, right? Because right down to having like an evil wizard who wanted to take over the school, and all that stuff. But this thing just goes to show just how down the drain the writing has gone. If you read the paragraph about this, one of the cards showing one of the students of that school, I was cringing so hard.
Yeah. She is a brilliant and bright prodigy who entered Strixhaven at a younger age than most, due to a high level of intellect.
You remind people get paid to write
like
that.
Some sort of like nonce fan fiction. Oh.
Nope. This is literally what someone got paid to write as like lore of the
due
set.
To a high level
Magic
of
the Gathering.
You're keen for the talented whiz.
Talented whiz. I guess that's a play on wizard. I guess. While part of Quandrix, she remains friends with two girls she met in her first year. One was chosen Prismari, and the others who will be attending Silverquill. Oh my god, I don't know what the fuck I'm reading. Simone wears patterned uniforms like the rest of Quandrix. Oh, I can't, it was so dull. This is too dull. What the
Why wouldn't she?
Her mind is her most powerful weapon, which enables her intellectual expansion.
It's like a bad fanfic. It's honestly like a bad fanfic.
Yeah, that is terrible. God help them.
Yeah.
COVID posted without comment because what do we know? We know nothing.
We know nothing.
Thanos is just deep fried Mussolini.
Can't unsee that now.
You go into surgery to get taller and you come out, you see Billy's legs is smeller. She says, "Who did you gave you the tool?" You get sad.
Is this Billie Eilish? Is this like...
Is it Billie Eilish or is it just someone who looks like Billie Eilish? I don't understand what's going on.
I think this is... Is Billie Eilish the modern version of Jaden Smith, whose claim to fame was when he tweeted, "How can mirrors be real when our eyes aren't real?"
What?
Do you not remember that?
No.
When Jaden Smith tweeted... Oh, and he more recently he tweeted something like, "This is how we do" or something, and then retweeted the footage of his dad slapping Chris Rock.
How can mirrors be real if our eyes aren't real?
Yep.
And it got 27,000 likes.
Deep.
Makes you think.
Hashtag deep.
Oh, that's an oldie. How old was he then?
When's it from?
I don't know. Late teens.
2013.
So he was named after his mum,
shit.
right? And then Willow's named after Will.
So he was only 15 at the time.
That's the people we're
interesting.
dealing with.
Cool.
Definitely is, though, right?
Never thought of that.
Oh yeah, New Scientist kept running the same piece like every month last year. There are signs that we are closing in on a complete explanation of this thing we call reality, even if to conclude that it doesn't really exist.
Just fading.
We're living in a simulation. Article number 3182 about how the universe is actually a simulation.
Even if the universe is a simulation, it would still be real. What is reality? Why we still don't understand the world's true nature? No one's claiming we do understand the world's true nature.
Yeah. They're trying to add a bit of jeopardy in there somehow, as if like we're all about to start floating or disappearing.
It's such a cop-out as well. Like we're closing in on a complete explanation, but that explanation is we don't know.
It reminds me of an episode of Cow and Chicken. Actually, it wasn't Cow and Chicken. It was the what was that sideshow that they like a spin-off from Cow and Chicken? It was about Weasel.
I am Weasel.
Wasn't it?
I am Weasel.
A baboon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he was like, I think like the president of the world, and he was signing the law of gravity, and the baboon then like stole it and like ripped it to shreds, and everyone just floated off.
Yeah.
That's basically it. This is the kind of like profoundness we're dealing with.
So Funku on Twitter says, Bolivia, a van carrying presidential election ballots is intercepted by civilians, showing the ballots already marked with a vote for the candidate and current Bolivian president Evo Morales. And that account was suspended when I tried to pull the tweet.
Oh shit. Wonder why. The Bolivian deep state got him.
It's because he wasn't talking about the Hungarian election this week. That's
yeah,
one where you're
rest in peace,
the one where you're allowed to question the
democracy.
legitimacy.
Unfortunately, democracy suffered a terrible blow because people elected someone that we don't like.
Victor's such a great name for someone to win elections with, though. that poor candidate loser he was up against.
Yeah, but I guess
just couldn't make the cut.
The stakes are higher though, because if you lose an election, it's gonna be like, "Hi, your name is Victor, and you lost an election. You're a Victor loser."
Yeah.
So.
Greta Thunberg. The activist is concerned about the impact of COVID on attendance for the UN climate conference and said it should be postponed.
The left don't care about her now. She's not a kid. What a bunch of pedos.
Yeah, she's gone. She's gone because the groomers are completely uninterested. Well, she was posting like a photo of herself like drinking a glass of wine or something, and it's like, wow, you basically just completely speed ran the like sad single lady like shtick.
A new study has found that areas with Black Lives Matter protests saw a 15 to 20% reduction in police officers' use of lethal force, resulting in roughly 300 fewer police homicides. Well, that could only be a good thing, right? That same research...
Read the fine print.
The research shows places with BLM protests from 2014 to 2019 saw a reduction in police homicides, but an uptick in murders.
Who'd have thunk it?
I don't think anyone could have predicted that.
Campbell's research also indicates that these protests correlate with a 10% increase in murders in the areas that saw BLM protests. That means from 2014 to 19, there was somewhere between 1,000 and 6,000 more homicides than would have been expected. That's crazy that there were that many homicides, right?
Jesus.
Yeah, and it's not even like attempted homicides. It's actually like, 1,600 more, gravestones and cemeteries.
And that's the more. That's the differential. What's the total number?
Yeah, but I'm just saying like more. Like, like if Thanos like snapped away the protesters, we would have between 1,000 and 6,000 more people alive right now.
Is that the whole of the US? That's that.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
that those protests got more coverage than any other protests in the past 50 years. Like Arab Spring, Iraq.
Yeah.
I think Vietnam might have slipped in there as well.
Gee, I mean, the what's it called? The protests in Egypt seem like such a distant past. when they tried the whole Mubarak shenanigans. That only was like that was Obama's second
2013
term.
something,
That was
2012.
2014, 2013. Yeah,
It's probably going to be more now
10
that
years ago.
no one's going to have any bread.
Yeah, I read the article that apparently Egypt is now a net wheat importer, and it just happens to import a lot of its wheat from countries currently embroiled in a certain war. So it is at serious risk of. Oh, and on top of that, I believe there's a dam project in Ethiopia, I think, that runs like a serious risk of depleting water to Egypt. But
Yeah,
I will need to read up more on this one.
I'm fucking
but in
retarded
any
though.
case,
Whenever
yeah.
I look at on a map, I
Yeah.
just assume all the rivers are going south. So wait, who could block Egypt? I'm like, oh shit, yeah, okay,
But-
cool. They probably go that way.
'Cause if you think about it, Egypt used to be, back in the days of the Roman Empire, Egypt used to provide all of the food for, well, not all of the food, but like, so much of the grain that fed the Roman Empire came from Egypt, and it kind of makes you think like, what the hell happened? How is it in there? How, like, I'm not even talking about being providing food to other countries, but
Mhm.
like at least be self-sufficient in grain.
Climate change. So today our queen is simply a woman who has lost her beloved husband of 73 years. I can't begin to imagine what kind of grief. May she know the gentle comfort and deep peace of God today.
I remember going to Buckingham Palace that day with a 4-pack of Stella. No one would go with me. And it was just a bunch of crazy Christians saying the end is nigh, and saying that that now that the Philip's dead, Jesus is coming back, and he's going to be king of England and shit. Yeah,
Bit of an old messenger.
Well, I've got some more Philip stuff coming up, so let's save that for
cool for
that
that.
slide.
Yes. Yeah, we celebrate. Well, not celebrate. Not celebrate. We mourn the death of Prince Philip, an absolute ledge, and it's 1 year anniversary of his untimely death.
I feel like it was timely. I think it was pretty old.
Also, since I made that Tim Pool video, which got quite a bit of an engagement.
Oh yeah.
As the political tensions in this country escalate and hyperpolarization of the political tribes only gets worse, believe it or not, today's main segment is grounds for optimism. Are we witnessing the fall of the United States? The only way they know how right now to actually make some change: defund the police, storm the U.S. Capitol, hit them, kill them, power grab, military occupation. Well, I'd get banned from YouTube. I mean, they'd probably take this video down. Twitter would probably suspend me for a day. And Facebook has already restricted my page for unknown reasons. If you don't like Twitter, build your own platform. It's a private company and they can do what they want. They're scared. Panic mode. You are witnessing history. And that's not hyperbole.
Is that your first foray in fake news?
Unbelievable that he's like, oh, I'm so getting banned. 1 year later, he's still on the platform, allowing kicking. I mean, to be fair, he did get swatted twice, but
Is that still a
it's
thing?
unbelievable. Not to mention, he gave rise to Jack Murphy. That is so like last year was like a cavalcade of Tim Pool fails.
I got pretty worried when I received that comment, though. The FBI commented, "Is this a joke or generally made to trick people?" I was like, shit. But yeah, I got hundreds and hundreds of comments saying "Oh my god, what is this guy doing? Does he work for CNN? This guy's clearly edited. Wake up, sheeple. This is just trying to Tim Pool. I watch Tim Pool every day, and this is just a clear misrepresentation." And
Bravo, man. That's
right. The problem is you're watching Tim Pool every day for a start. That's the first thing you did wrong.
That's the problem. Yeah. You need to get your news from InfoWars, not Tim Pool.
At least Alex Jones is consistent.
I love him. He's so personable. He did a stream with what's his name, Mike Tyson,
Oh yeah.
and because he he may have all these cookie theories, but he's so like approachable on a personal level. Like he ends up doing a stream with Mike Tyson. And he was in Rogan. He's turning into a bit of like a Forrest Gump kind of figure, like he just Mike Tyson there. He did Joe Rogan there.
Interdimensional vampire pedos.
Yeah, he had Curtis Yarvin on that was golden. That was golden because you have Curtis Yarvin trying to. It was so good. It made me think that like Alex Jones and Curtis Yarvin should have that they should have like a show together because you had Yarvin like going on about his theories like the elites, and then Alex Jones like and they're all vampiric pedophiles, and then Yarvin's like so the way the elites acquire power, and Alex Jones like they're all touching kids, vampiric elite pedophiles.
Give those guys.
So good. You're such it's such a contrast between the two, like the leveled, measured Yarvin.
Give those guys a travel show.
Alex Jones just being Alex Jones. Right. Next up, my cat plotting. My cat plotting to overthrow.
Your cat made quite a splash this month. This month. He was in one of the previous slides as well. Is that your cat?
Well, my cat. No, no, that's not my cat. It just looks similar to my cat.
I thought you were like.
I don't want to dox your cat.
I thought you were threatening his cat there. I thought he was going to look outside and find his cat splattered in the road.
No. To be honest, you probably don't want to mess with the cat that's reading Ted Kaczynski. And as you can see.
Fauci not sure why Texans don't have an uptick of COVID after nixing masks.
It's a funny word.
Yeah, I never.
God, that mask debate was. Come on.
Nipping masks in a bud.
May I still have to wear the fuckers? I do not like it. Hopefully soon. But there are less people wearing them in the streets and in their cars. Like when I first got here, everyone in their cars was wearing them as well, and it was just like, what the hell are you doing? You're sat alone in a vehicle. But
didn't they always just wear them anyway? I remember I used before COVID. This is why I was so against lockdowns and all that. Really, is because they stole the joke of me I was using for years, where if I see like an Asian person in a mask on the tube or whatever, I just point to someone and say, "Oh, okay, look, we get it. They're a surgeon." That was always what I used to say, and then they stole that. They robbed me of that. Do they not all just wear one then?
I think you should still make that joke. Like even after all that, just like especially if you make it to someone who's also masked, like just nudge someone in a mask or someone else who's in a mask and be like, "You think this guy's a surgeon?" Like on the tube.
I did have fun in the first year of COVID. I went on more holidays in like the first year of COVID than ever before, just because I felt like I wasn't going to be able to. So I just sort of, I don't know what happened, but anyway, it was good. And I was in Greece, and there was some waiter was telling me about the mask, to wear a mask or whatever, and telling me about the pandemic, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" He was like, "The pandemic." I was like, "I have no idea what you're talking about." Just like what he was like, the fuck, like COVID. Like I was like, I'm sorry, dude. I don't know what's that word. Like I don't know what that is. He was just like, yeah. It was a good time for fucking around with people. I give it that.
Breaking: Biden proposes. I think that's 753 trillion.
No,
billion. So 0.7 trillion. Pentagon budget, a significant increase from last year's budget. I know this seems sketch.
This year's 800 billion. Just as a...
Oh god, it's gone up again.
As a comparison.
But revamping every military installation in the world to be LGBTQ plus positive is gonna be dollar, y'all. And all the retraining and rewriting of materials and distribution. When the DoD makes positive changes, I'm thumbs up for the necessary spending. How deluded do you have to be to think that's what the money's going to be spent on?
I think weirdly enough, it may well be like I saw an article in I think it was actually either one of the newspapers or like legitimately like one of those American military newspapers, and it was basically decrying the fact that the Taliban have tore down the LGBTQ flag flying in the U.S. embassy in Kabul. Like, I genuinely am starting to think that that the U.S. military is sort of, despite this huge budget, is not putting the money in the, shall I say, right places without passing any judgment, and combat effectiveness is going down, and there's going to be like a brutal awakening if it actually comes to a war with China.
General buggery is on the up.
Yeah, I mean, like if you think about it, when was the last time the USA actually had to fight, a major power? Well, probably the 40s, right? With World War
they
II.
never really have, to be honest. They
Yeah,
like even in the
everything
World
else
Wars,
is
they
just-
come in at the end when everyone's like on their fucking knees already and kind of just clean shit up. They don't actually do most of the fighting.
Yeah. I mean, you could make a case for
Yeah,
the
I
Pacific
think-
Front, and they kind of did that all by themselves. But even then, like, I mean, Japan was nothing compared to the US in terms of just raw industrial power. I mean, that's one of the reasons they attacked the US in the first place, is because that was kind of like their one and only chance of seizing some kind of industrial power if they dealt a major blow to the US. Yeah, so ultimately it will be interesting to see. Well, I say interesting, probably not. It will be tragic and horrendous to see see an actual war being fought. But I'm curious to see how US would fare against China in a modern conflict, or as we might come to see, combined forces of Russia, India, and China, because those three are coming increasingly close together. With
I reckon
recent
India will
shenanigans.
always choose us over China, though. I think most of their stuff with Russia is just because they need the fuel to keep up with China, basically.
Sure, but the US at the moment is doing a pretty good job of alienating India. Like, Biden threatened to sanction India if they don't sanction Russia. India said, "Fuck that, we're not sanctioning Russia." And Biden's like, "Okay, well, we're gonna investigate how we can sanction India." Like,
Yeah, what the fuck?
like learn some fucking diplomacy for once. You can't just sanction everyone you don't like until they start liking you. Like,
Dogs with eyes, lips, and facial expressions of man appearing in advertisement. Genetic chemical alteration of animals blended with humans to sell corporations for their $1 million advertisement campaigns and brand imagery. The human brain given to dogs to make them trainable for the use of corporations. Our rights as human beings taken away and sold to profit. The Hollywood commercial industry. No rights or freedom. Human-dog blended animal used by Hollywood. Easy to train and used for advertisement.
Yeah, looks like Yakubian theory was right.
yeah, in the words of in the style of Peter Griffin. Ah, sweet, a schizo post.
Oh, this was the infamous Kim Potter. So I'm going to have to put a warning before this. So violent content is about to be shown. Viewer discretion is advised. Yeah.
Is this Kim Potter? In that case, you might want to like do it in Gary's mod or something.
Gary's mod.
Like, I'm not even joking.
Yeah,
Like, do a reenactment.
Is this like a Karen video, or is someone gonna die?
Well, the latter.
Oh,
Somehow I
it's this
predicted
one.
this.
Dead.
Don't tase me, bro. Don't tase me. Bang.
Oh, Barracks lose.
Fuck.
Flying taser, he said. Narrator, but she
Fucking
did
hell,
not deploy the taser.
Great. And then, then the car crashed into like an old couple that was driving the opposite way as well, and they were like basically trying to sue to
What, the dying guy
damages
who'd
for
been
them
shot
as well.
or the police officer?
No, like the.
Yeah,
they should have
in
been
a
suing
way,
him.
I
To
think
be
they
honest,
are entitled to compensation. I think they should be able to sue the police force.
but yeah, they were.
Like,
The guy had like dementia, and they were trying to say that it made it way worse, and like he's now in a really bad condition and shit.
okay, so this is something that might get me cancelled. Hopefully not, but I think Zootopia has ruined people's perception of the police, and like real life examples of Officer Bunny are extremely rare, and you're more likely to end up with a Kim Potter situation where it leads to a tragedy than an Officer Bunny who stops an entire armed gang of
They're making
criminals.
The sad thing about it though was that Kim Potter was actually like a really decent police officer, from what I gathered from the court case and stuff. Like she was very experienced, very.
So that is true, but her place was. It's gonna sound like something that's gonna haunt me for the rest of my life. But like she was better suited for working like, I don't know, in like admin kind of jobs, from what I gathered. Like she was really good at these kinds of jobs, rather than being so to say on the front lines.
Well, no, she was always in the field. She wasn't in admin. She was she refused to get desk jobs. She stayed in the field more, but she was dealing with a lot of de-escalation of like domestic situations.
Oh, okay.
And helping like
that's the one. So she wasn't behind the desk. She was things.
But
like
yeah, I guess this
de-escalation.
is kind of a little bit different. But
yeah. So like exactly. So it's one thing where and in a way, I guess without resorting to any stereotypes about anything, like a cop that excels in resolving domestic situations might not necessarily be well suited to dealing with violent criminals. Do you know what I mean? Like it's a completely different set of skills, and without even getting gender into the equation.
But yeah, joke, Sam Hyde is prophetic. Woke, Sam Hyde seduced female cop and manipulated her into improperly shooting man on camera to look prophetic. Bespoke, Officer Samantha Hyde transition just to prove the point.
Are they giving her the electric chair, but it's actually just a bunch of guns that are just going to blast her head open?
And we got the Rule 34 on this one.
Whoopsie.
She looks a bit, well, the female Sam Hyde kind of looks like Greta Thunberg with a different hairstyle and glasses.
It looks more like someone else. Someone, I'm not sure, but
I don't know. Like, take the glasses off. Take the glasses off, and there's the same like square face. Do the filter.
Definitely got the same nose.
Do like the glass.
Yeah, in post, I'll filter. I'll do the male filter on Thunberg and see if it gets Sam Hyde.
I'm gonna turn Greta Thunberg into Sam Hyde. Maybe they are the same person.
You never see him in the same room.
Yeah.
Matt Laffrey in Vice, it's not colorizing S21 photographs, he's falsifying history. This was a guy that was recolorizing it and making everyone happy using the smiley filter.
Oh no, that was horrendous. Like those are like prisoners.
Yeah, it looks like
prisoners
Cambodia to me.
in Cambodia, like people in actual concentration camps. And the dude was like, "Oh, I'm gonna like colorize their photos and put a face-up smile on everyone. Look how happy they are to be in the killing fields of Cambodia."
I love it. I'm so here for that.
Bad.
Like, what the fuck? who would think about?
That is a memory hole for sure. That is the point of this podcast is that exact meme there.
But like, why would you do that? Do you know what I mean? Like, why? What comes over someone to wake up one day and think, "Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to put smiles on people in concentration camps. I think that's my calling. That's what I've been
right
meant to
these
do. That's what
wrongs.
I'm put on this planet to do.
Harvey Weinstein is
Yeah.
nearly blind and he's lost his teeth. Lawyer claims extradition hearing. Rape was the only thing holding this man's body together.
He's got nothing left.
Genuinely.
Oh, I heard
What?
an excellent rape joke the
How
other
do you
day.
lose teeth?
Fuck knows.
How are you nearly blind as well?
Yeah. Go on.
Why do we put rapists in prison? I think we can do a lot better. We should put rapists in bank vaults, so when people try and rob them, they get raped. So this was DuckDuckGo versus Google. When you type in riots today, you get from DuckDuckGo, you'll get protests erupt after police fatally shoot black man in traffic stop. On Google, you get January 6th changed everything. Will Capitol riot mark a return to fortress policing? And this is 3 months plus after the riots. You can type in riots today.
Yeah, it's a foundational myth of the regime, isn't it? It's like, this is kind of like an almost holy event. Well, I'm genuinely curious to see if, 10 years down the line, there will still be people again, celebrating, maybe not the right word,
Saint
but
Floyd. When
doing shit on January the 6th.
Saint Floyd, who is the patron saint of everything, and with his Saints' Day falls on all days.
So the BBC this time last year had their own Prince Philip dedicated section.
They should just keep that all the time.
He bumped coronavirus down a spot.
Yeah, that is quite big. For something to dethrone coronavirus. The only other person who's managed to do it was Vladimir Putin.
Nice. I hate funerals. I never know what to say. I'm sorry for your loss. Move on. Royalists. We're burying a great man today. Everyone else. Did someone else die?
You're fine, aren't you, Philip? You're fine.
Father!
Oh, I remember that funeral episode.
So good.
The IT crowd. Yeah. He was playing the tape. And stop the tape. What was it? Oh, I can't remember.
Now, about the irregularities in the pension fund.
Wait, did you...
Shut that off now.
Did you guys send all these memes in the same day as that first Queen meme?
Maybe a few days later.
It's like 100 memes. Father. And I left it there when I left that flat a couple of weeks ago, and I just left it hanging up there. It was probably sentimental moment, tipping my hat at him, turn the light off, walking out, little tear in my eye. I think a minute of silence is appropriate.
Oh, there's
Take
a
a
page
look.
on The Independent. Prince Philip, 90 of the Duke of Edinburgh's most excruciating comments. Ghastly, Prince Philip's opinion of Beijing during a 1986 tour of China. Ghastly, Prince Philip's opinion of Stoke-on-Trent, as offered to the city in 1997. Deaf? If you're near there, no wonder you're deaf, said to a group of deaf children standing near a Caribbean steel drum band in 2000. If you stay here much longer, you will go home with slitty eyes, to 21-year-old British student Simon Kirby during a visit to China in 1986. Man, that visit to China in 1986 must have been a banger.
China's just opening up to the West, and then he comes along, just offends everyone.
It's really playing literally making the inappropriate gesture with the eyes and stuff, just Oh no, we got one more page, don't we? Oh shit.
Jamie, pull up the average fentanyl overdose.
Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. Let's go back to the minute of silence.
Florida woman 23
That's,
named Snape, who claims she was Harry Potter, kills Long Island judge 75 in hit and run and injures 6-year-old boy while high on drugs.
The greatest trick of all.
Why is it always Florida?
It's actually Alan Rickman.
Snape was convulsing or having a seizure in her car when cops found her. Yes. Pete speaking parcel tongue.
Voldemort got him. Snape was convulsing.
The twist is that she's actually somehow the good guy still.
This is bad. Right, well, what's that? Give me that TLDR on the story.
I've
Hang
no
on,
idea.
so she's called Snape, but she claims to be Harry
But she
Potter. Why would, if you're called Snape, why would you just claim to be Snape?
I don't know. Also, her actual name was Snape. I didn't know that was a real name.
And also, it would be more like a
Her last
Oh
name,
my
though, her
God.
last name's Snape. Yeah, okay, that's Snape's name. So I heard Harry Potter Snape. Nominative termination, isn't it?
Wait, so did she deliberately kill the judge? Did she have a grudge against him, or did she just accidentally do it?
I guess she was mentally ill, as most Harry Potter fans are.
Well, I don't know. I don't think the trans people like Harry Potter anymore.
Yeah,
But yeah, pretty much every trans person was a Harry Potter fan.
Now they're doing we gotta separate the work from the author kind of thing. Is that
That's progress in the same way.
Yeah. Do they think that the Transfiguration classes were an affirmation of their ideology?
Isn't that Christianity? And now I'm getting confused.
Transfiguration classes were affirmation of the transfiguration that occurs when Jesus' flesh takes the form of bread, during Mass. That's the only transfiguration I need.
That's why you just have to say their pronouns. Saying their pronouns is the right incantation.
True. Yeah. State religion. There's a new state religion town.
And it's fabulous. Or actually, no, and it's really angry.
And then you put the Looney Tunes.
over the lady accidentally shooting the guy.
That's all, folks.